nonstop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
It's just good to see familiar faces, and, it's like being home. First day back in practice, full pad, so it felt really good. I'm excited.
What was the free agency process like for you? Was it pretty slow the last few months, and
it was pretty much the same as last year. I was just kind of out there on the streets a little bit and just waiting for the right fit, and, this has always been the right fit for me, and, I'm excited to be here, excited to be back with the team, and, it's been a journey, but, I'm happy to be back.
I'm a fan, man. I root for Everson Griffen's success. He's had some self-inflicted things. He's also just, I think, been dealt some bad cards in life, and he's back in purple. This is Purple Daily, daily Vikings entertainment with one mission statement. We want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. Purple Daily is presented by Surly Brewing Company, and we prefer that you watch Purple Daily on the YouTube channel on a TCL TV. Enjoy more of what you love with TCL, one of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands, and they got a brand new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution at an affordable cost. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. Boys, let's dive into it here. We're going to get to Tuesday Vikings trivia. I'm going to put you guys to the test again. See if you can team up and conquer me. You guys have done pretty well in Tuesday Vikings trivia. But Judd's camp notes we're going to get to as well. And I'm actually the first one that I want to hear about is Mike Zimmer when asked about the offense. What do you want to see out of the offense? Like, you guys have scored no touchdowns your first two preseason games. What do you want to see in the third preseason game? And he basically said touchdowns. And I want to throw the ball down the field. He said, I want the offense to throw the ball down the field. We're not going to get it done with 20 checkdowns. I believe the exact phrase was 20 checkdowns or something.
Yeah, 25-yard check.
So what are your thoughts on that, Zimmer? I think the perception here is, well, Zimmer is the one pulling the reins back on the offense, and he wants you to be smart and ball control and hand the ball off and don't take risks, right? Which is a little bit of a misperception. But he's saying, guys, let's go. Let's push that thing down the field. Let's take some chances here. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that the comment on its face is pretty funny, but if you delve into the comment, it's actually a very interesting question because, look, Clint Kubiak, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is 34, okay? This is his first opportunity to call plays. It's his first opportunity as a coordinator, and he's not going to do things that are far off the page of what his boss, Mike Zimmer, wants done. All of that being said, the offense to me, now it looked a little bit better, I thought, the first team offense with Kirk in practice yesterday, but the offense to me in practices and in certainly the preseason game on Saturday has not looked probably aggressive enough, and it's not looked like an offense that would at all scare teams. Now, when Justin Jefferson comes back and when Dalvin Cook starts to play, Phil, that should change. But I guess my question for Mike would be, how much are you taking the kid gloves off of really Clint Kubiak to allow him to call the plays that you're talking about? And, two of your ultimately incredibly important players to success there aren't playing. One in Jefferson because he's hurt. Two in Cook because I agree with he shouldn't play until the regular season begins. So the comment on its face to me strikes me as funny, and it's an easy comment, I think, if you're a fan or us to get behind and be like, hell yeah, he's right. But I also wonder how much he's contributing to the fact that in Clint's mind, he's also like, well, if I call this play and it gets picked off, guess who's in trouble? Me, probably. So
yeah, you shouldn't feel that way if you're an offensive coordinator. I actually love this. I think if this is some sort of change in mindset for Zimmer. Now, I've got some numbers that are going to be interesting here to dive into that kind of show, all right, well, how often have they been doing this in the past, throwing the ball down the field? But to me, this offense has huge big play capability down the field. First of all, it's predicated on play action and Dalvin Cook, and you're just inherently drawing defenders in and creating potential over-the-top home run opportunities. And then you've got two of the most sure-handed receivers running those routes in Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. In fact, here's the first number I want to quiz you guys on. I'm not going to quiz you. I'll just give you the number. Last season, the Vikings had 65 deep passing attempts, meaning 20 yards in the air or more. How many drops did they have? So 65 attempts. How many drops? 0.
I was going to say that they don't have a lot of guys.
0.
Unlike the old days, they don't have a lot of guys that drop the ball.
I mean, and it's not like, it's not like a bunch of quarterbacks have. It's not like a bunch of quarterbacks have 10 drops that they're staring at. But Matt Ryan had 6 drops against him. Pat Mahomes had 4. Russell Wilson had 4. Derek Carr had 5. So, but the Vikings, as best I can tell here, are the only team in the NFL last year that didn't drop a deep pass. So you've got reliable receivers out there, and that 65 attempts number was 12th most in the NFL. Tom Brady had 91 deep passing attempts, which was part of the criticism early on. Like Bruce Arians was just calling all these deep throws, and I think they probably limited some of those a little bit later in the season. But the Vikings feel to me, with all the ingredients, if the offensive line can hold up enough, like they should be near the top of that list. The way that your offense is constructed, take those shots down the field, and maybe hit an extra home run or two. And
what sets those passes up? Play action. No question about it, right? So if everything works as it should with Cook, the value of Dalvin is not just how talented he can be when the football's in his hands, but how Kirk can work off play action. The defense then has to suck up and be concerned about Cook, and Kirk has the arm talent to pass deep. But again, I'm just going back to, I would love to sit down with Mike and say, have you altered things? Like, have you, if Clint Kubiak's calling deep shots, which, by the way, would be great fun to watch, but are you cool with that? Are you going to be because, look, we've never really talked about this, but to me, one of the most interesting things, if you go back now and look at this from the 30,000-foot view and a revisionist view, you know what we didn't talk about at the time? And it might not have been right for Kirk, but I've become more and more convinced. John DeFilippo was trying to run an offense for modern times.
He may not have been the best coach or communicator, or there might have been some clashing, but he wanted to they were throwing the most pass attempts in the NFL for most of that season.
Right. But what I'm saying is, Mike couldn't stand that, and Kirk was like, I'm in shotgun too much, and everybody had their excuse for why they didn't like it. And I feel like what we didn't at the time stop and do and say, okay, that's cool. The head coach wants to run more, and the quarterback's not comfortable. But the reality is John DeFilippo trying to install and run an offense that at that time, 2018, at that time makes a lot of sense. It might not have worked. It might not have been perfect. But, since then, we have seen this team very much go back to let's ground and pound and throw deep sometimes, as opposed to, hold on a second, we've got Thielen and Diggs, and now Jefferson and Thielen. Let's use play action as much as possible, and let's make sure that we're driving the ball downfield more, because that's what is going to win football games, at least from an offensive standpoint of view, in 2021.
I just out of curiosity, how do the numbers stack up? They've basically attempted the same amount of deep passes in each of Kirk Cousins' first 3 years, 18, 19, and 20, anywhere between 61 and 65 deep passes. Now, they attempted more passes overall with John DeFilippo per game. Right. They were just throwing the ball more, and Zimmer hated it. Dude, you got to run the ball more.
Right.
They've also been set up from a personnel perspective with the offensive line to run the ball more than pass, or more than most teams would run the ball, because they draft offensive linemen that can zone run block, right? Like, that's the way they've built their team. But 2019, all right, so again, Kirk Cousins, 61 deep passes. It was kind of middle of the pack among starters. Aaron Rodgers, 93. Jameis Winston, 99 deep passes, led the league. He also he only threw 5 interceptions on those. So that wasn't as bad. I think a lot of his interceptions came on the shorter passes. So I think what's realistic is you're not going to throw like 5 extra deep passes a game. Like, that's too much to ask for. But can you get me like 1 or 2 more shots? Replace a couple of Dalvin Cook handoffs with a couple of play-action deep shots and see what happens. And maybe you hit 1 extra one per game, and it sets you up for a better chance to score more points.
Right.
Those are the incremental things that I think I would like to see with this offense being more aggressive.
I would too, but the one thing that we have to keep in mind, especially for potentially the first 3 or 4 games of the season, is if Rashad Hill is starting at left tackle, are you going to have the time to do that too? Because that's the thing about, when Kirk checks the ball down, why? Because there's pressure there. So I think that becomes a very important dynamic. And I'll say this flat out going into 2021. This offensive line at the very best right now is probably the same as it was going into 20. Because if Rashad Hill's at left tackle, Riley Reif didn't have a great 2019, but we've talked about this. 2020, he came back and played damn well. Like, he played really well. And he's gone now. I would like to think that Udo at right guard is going to be a huge improvement on Dozier, but we have to see that. I think we're back to sort of assuming Garrett Bradbury is going to be fine, but we don't know that.
I'm not assuming that yet.
Okay, but I mean, that's fair. But my point is that's fair not to.
Negative,
and then Cleveland
being negative, Mackie.
No,
Yours
but
is always negative. You never say anything nice about the Vikings.
I'm creating the thing where this might not be all Kirk's fault too. Now, look, I expect a lot from Kirk, but I'm just saying
Kirk's fault. Everything's Kirk's fault on the show. You know the rule.
To get the ball, one take. You know the rules. To get the ball downfield, you got to have some time. So the Rashad Hill thing at left tackle can't be understated as far as importance starting week 1, because that's one place where if you get pressure there or pressure from the interior, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know how much. Again, we don't really know how much the starters are going to play in this third preseason game. They haven't really tipped their hand, right, at this point.
No, although Mike basically came out after the game on Saturday and said the starters on offense almost certainly have to play some. The offensive line
just don't get hurt. At this point, I'd rather just go into week 1 fully healthy.
Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson should not play.
Thielen shouldn't play,
and they won't. He won't play.
But if those guys aren't going to play, then what's the point of playing the first team?
I'm telling you what Mike said. Yeah.
Well, get Mike in here so I can debate him.
Mike said, and Mike was frustrated after the game, so he actually might have rethought this by now. But yeah, Thielen's out hurt with, I think it's a right thigh bruise. Jefferson, there ain't no way he's playing. And Dalvin Cook, as far as I'm concerned, until he's close to being washed up, should never play in a preseason game again.
Yeah. And by the way, Adam, a bruise on the thigh is a long way from the heart.
Heart candy,
knows.
Yeah, and stop
bruise
having
on the
your
thigh
quarterback.
is a long way from the heart.
Stop having your quarterback throw you on a slant route right into the defender who tries not to hurt you.
It's always Kirk's fault with you. It's always Kirk's fault with you.
I was just defending Kirk. And
you almost made it. You almost made it.
Didn't like that.
13 minutes into this episode without bashing Kirk. It's ridiculous. Let's get to Judd's camp notes here. We're going to get to Judd's camp notes, some Vikings trivia presented by Moon Motorsports in Monticello. So 50 years as a family-owned and operated multi-line dealer in Monticello. These are the type of local businesses we love to support on Purple Daily, and we hope offer some value to you guys as the audience. So from motorcycles to ATVs, side-by-side snowmobiles, they have the largest inventory selection in the region, and they carry 10 brands: Honda, Polaris, Yamaha, Can-Am, BMW, Ski-Doo, and there's 4 more. You can just go check them out at moonmotorsports.com and see for yourself the amazing selection if you like to get out and have some fun with these motorized vehicles. So again, moonmotorsports.com. Judd Zulgad, your camp notes, if you will.
All right, camp note number 1. Everson Griffen is back in the fold. Now, he's wearing 58 right now, which is odd.
It is odd.
Very odd to see him in 58.
Okay, who's wearing 97?
Michael Pierce is. And according to Griffen, according to Ev, Michael Pierce actually approached him yesterday and offered the number back. Ev said, we'll wait and see. So I don't know if he is going to pay him off or what. But he flat out said, Pierce offered me the number back. I think he'll take it. 58 looks really odd. I can't get it.
Why would he not just take it on the spot? Why is it wait and see?
He probably doesn't. Well, he might have. Who knows? Pierce might have asked for something. I certainly would have. That can be a rich transaction. I would not, if I had a number, I would not just, especially now, if I'm a rookie, I probably just say, That's cool. Take it. But if I'm a veteran, I'm going to get something for it.
If you're Everson Griffen, but you're Judd Zolgad version of Everson Griffen, so you don't have to think about what Everson would want. Judd Zolgad, what would you ask? Or if you're Michael Pierce, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What would you ask Everson Griffen for?
$25,000 and dinner.
And
dinner.
And dinner.
And dinner.
Yeah, Michael Pierce, I eat a lot. All the fixings too, all the trimmings.
So he's going to give you $25,000 and then you guys go to dinner together?
Yeah, and he's paying for that too. I'm a professional athlete. What do I care? $25,000 is like $20 to us.
Why the dinner?
Or less.
If he's already giving you $25,000, just so you can bond with him after taking his jersey?
No, because I'm Michael Pierce. I'm always hungry. I want more food. I'm a big man. I'm a nose tackle. Damn it. I'm head up. I'm head up on the center. I'm a zero technique, okay? I want the dinner. And $25,000.
I love how it's $25,000 and we're going to
dinner.
Jimmy John's. And it's on you.
No, we're not going to Jimmy John's. We're going to Manny's. We're going to Murray's.
Applebee's 2-for-1 appetizers.
As Donovan McNabb said, hey, Burger King, we're coming.
I would go to Applebee's. I'd go for $25,000 and I would go to Applebee's for 2-for-1 appetizers until they were out of mozzarella sticks. Mm-hmm. You'd have to sit there and just watch me.
So press conference that he still has to apologize to Kirk for calling him ass in a tweet last January in a three thread tweet that basically also, and this is the most to me the ass comment is funny. The second part though,
he's throwing Zimmer under the bus,
which is basically, but that's true. Like
Zimmer didn't want him either.
He did, right, but he didn't make.
Dude, what are you doing?
But he didn't make that up. Like that was like, okay, I'm going to defend Kirk here. He's not ass. Like ass is a guy that can't play at all. Okay, so
which quarterback in the NFL is ass?
Oh, there's a lot of third quarterbacks who are probably qualified.
Is Jake
ass.
Browning ass?
I don't want to say that about the kid because I feel bad. I feel bad for calling him that. Like that's a personal attack. I feel like.
Real quick, you know what's hilarious?
Kirk's
Like the Zimmer drive-by inclusion in those tweets. It would,
Yes.
It's like the three of us on the show would be like if I said, "Hey, Declan Goff is ass," and Judd thinks so too.
Yes.
Ask Judd what he.
But what
thinks.
if I did? But that's the thing is, Mike didn't want Kirk. I mean that tweet was not incorrect. He was not making things up. He knows that for a fact. Like we've always thought that. And he knows that, and he tweeted it out, and then he deleted it, and it's like. But here's the interesting thing about the apology yet to come for Kirk. Everson said that he basically had talked to Rick Spielman and Zimmer about it and apologized to them because, as Phil said, and he's right, you basically threw the head coach under the bus completely, under the bus. But he hasn't. But nobody said, okay, next up. You have to go downstairs right now. Kirk's in the building and apologize. So clearly, Spielman and Zim said, good enough.
All right.
Good enough. You're forgiven.
I want to clarify something because I saw a lot of the responses on some of the clips from the show that were being shared on social yesterday. They're like, you guys, they're all adults. Like, what do you think's going to happen? Like, they're going to throw down? No, like, of course they're not going to throw down. First of all, Kirk, I could never see Kirk, like, getting into a physical altercation at practice. That would be interesting to see, like quarterbacks boxing each other or something. But no, I don't think there's going to be a physical altercation. But it is. I'm sure Kirk has seen and felt the comments and probably feels a little. I don't know if he feels hurt, but it's like it's not something where you just see Everson Griffen at practice and you're like, "What's up, Everson? Great to see you again." Like that guy kind of hates you. So it's just kind of a thing that probably needs to be smoothed over. And I'll tell you what's not ass.
What's that?
Surly Brewing Company.
Oh, you got that right because it's delicious. And Furious, Furious is so good. And of course, we appreciate our friends at Surly for presenting sponsor, if you will, of Purple Daily. And here's the great thing. So Surly offers you options. They offer you options when it comes to their beer, and they also offer you options when it comes to how you consume it in what type of mood. What do I mean by that? Well, if the Purple is winning and having a big game, you cheers Surly, perhaps the Furious, because you're happy, because they're doing well. But let's say they're not. Let's say Kirk is playing like not well. I won't even say ass. Let's say Kirk is struggling. Well, then you might head to the fridge and pick up a Furious, and you might not want to cheers it, but you'll certainly drink it to drown the sorrows. And you know why you do that? Declan and Phil, you do it because we all do enough settling in life. So crack open a Surly Furious. Enjoy the IPA that revolutionized Minnesota craft beer. Don't settle. Go to that fridge and get your Surly.
All right, what's your next camp note here, Judd?
My next camp note is a very interesting sort of nuanced takeaway from a man who has watched far too many practices. Garrett Bradbury is trying to make a statement in camp. Garrett Bradbury yesterday got into what I would call the most interesting altercation of camp, hot day, so not a lot of fun. Jalen Holmes and Garrett Bradbury got into a fight that went on for a while and ended with Stephen Weatherly having to essentially drag Jalen Holmes away and Garrett Bradbury on the ground, very upset. And now there was an earlier training camp practice a couple weeks ago in which Garrett Bradbury and Armin Watts also got into it, not as much as the two yesterday. Garrett Bradbury is clearly trying to make a statement that he knows if he doesn't have a good 2021, that he's in big trouble here.
Yeah.
And two, I think he's tired of being pushed around by big guys. Literally. Yeah, no, literally. So Garrett Bradbury to me, like the whole, we can debate a fight in training camp practice, is that good? I don't know. But what is good is Garrett Bradbury is clearly trying to show some feistiness, and he's trying to show some toughness that we probably have not seen previously. Vikings fans should hope that this translates to games. But this is a guy who definitely, especially in pass pro, needed more of a mean streak. I think he's trying to show that now.
I love it. Yeah. He is definitely, I think we haven't talked as much about him collectively because the right guard competition is so important, and Darisaw hasn't been practicing at left tackle because he's been hurt, and so it's kind of like left tackle, right guard are the big question mark spots right now for the offensive line, but Bradbury in pass protection has been the lowest graded center according to PFF the last 2 years. He's been really bad as a pass protector, and that's a big problem for Kirk Cousins, so I like the fight. I don't know if we need guys, ripping each other's face masks and stuff, but like a little fight, little chippiness,
little pushback
toward the tail end of training camp here.
Amen.
I'm all for it.
Football. Yeah. All right, training camp note number 3. As D.D. Westbrook continues to sit out practice, like he's been in there a few times and he'll catch some punts and stuff, but his return from ACL surgery that he had last season with Jacksonville, he's still not there yet. KJ Osborne continues as a receiver to impress. He had a great day on Monday, made a few nice catches. The most impressive, and this is good or bad, but to me, it's good. Kirk Cousins deep ball down the left sideline. KJ Osborne against Patrick Peterson one-on-one. KJ Osborne adjusts his route, it goes up and gets the ball and beats Peterson. Now, you could say, oh boy, and be like Declan and say, what if Patrick Peterson's not good? But this was a hell of a catch. It was a very nice route. And I think that KJ Osborne has, at least in practice, completely 1,000% solidified the fact September 12th in Cincinnati, he is the third receiver.
And they're going to need him to be productive to some extent because, just the number 3 receiver needs to be productive. But there's a good chance over the course of a 17-game schedule that Adam Thielen goes down with an injury. Justin Jefferson already got banged up during a training camp practice. So it's just hard to expect full health from both those guys. And you can't just have a guy at wide receiver. There's got to be someone that can make a play and maybe catch 5 passes for 90 yards and make some noise. And so it seems to me like KJ Osborne does give the Vikings the best chance for that if he has to step in and play full snaps for a game or a month or whatever it may be.
Yes, and he is a better receiver than return man. I'm telling you, return-wise, he just doesn't have a burst. He can catch the ball, but he doesn't have that Cordell Patterson burst. As a receiver, though, he runs good routes. He's got good hands. So, I think ultimately KJ Osborne's success in this league is not going to be on punt returns or kick returns, if those stick around. It's going to be receiver. And I don't know that he's great, but he's definitely reliable and good. All right, I got another one for you.
Real quick, on that note, on the receivers, I think the way that I'm envisioning this is Jefferson, Thielen, and then KJ Osborne as the third, and then D.D. Westbrook and Smith Marset as Also, receivers on the depth chart who return kicks and punts for you.
Yep. And don't forget Declan's guy because he's going to make the roster.
So 6 receivers.
Receivers.
And Chad Beebe is.
It's fine. He's fine, Declan.
Yeah, we'll see.
Why do you hate him so much?
I don't hate him.
You do.
I'm
you
sick.
can't stand him. He's fine.
It's Groundhog's Day. This is like the 4th training camp. We're talking about Chad Beebe competing for the 3rd wide. Either you're going to be it or you're not, Chad. Like, how many times are you going to get this chance?
He's just a depth guy, but he's reliable there.
Yeah, well,
and if he has
not
to step
reliable,
in,
I can tell you right now, he's missed more than half the games he's been played in ever since he came to the Vikings training camp 4 years ago. He's not reliable. He's actually the opposite of reliable.
Training camp,
Find someone else.
Training camp, no. Training camp, no.
Find a more durable borderline roster guy.
Yeah, for real.
Training camp note number 4. Justin Jefferson has made his return to practice, took part in the entire session on Monday. But during the 7-on-7 drills, please cue up the football.
Sorry. Yes, 7-on-7. Yeah.
Football.
During 7-on-7 drills, Mike Zimmer had him don a red number 18 jersey ordinarily reserved for quarterbacks. That meant do not touch the merchandise. You can shop at the store. You can look.
I love it.
But unless you're going to buy, do not touch. Justin Jefferson back at practice, making plays, making catches, all great to see. But he, before Kirk, is going to be given plexiglass to put around him because nobody needs to touch him.
It's a very smart move, yes. We talked about this on Mackey and Judd earlier today. Just don't risk injury. There's been enough bad mojo and just bad vibes around Vikings training camp, and just things haven't gone really according to plan so far for many different reasons. Just Justin Jefferson, just stand off to the side, catch some passes. No one come within 10 yards of him. Get him to week 1 fully healthy. That's the biggest priority offensively right now.
All right, give me the breaking news sounder because I didn't put this in the notes, but it's the 5th note, and I didn't see this reported elsewhere. I buried lead on purpose. But this is the type of thing Purple Daily, presented by my friends at Surly Brewing, give you, okay? So, like, this is my 5th Surly, and I'm going to give you football-y football that we're going to be drunk on in 1 second. Very subtly yesterday, the Minnesota Vikings, first-team offense, at times, took Oli Udoh off the field at right guard and replaced him. But they didn't do it with Dakota Dozier. The ship has sailed on Dakota Dozier. Very subtly getting a few first-team snaps, Wyatt Davis.
What?
Ooh.
Yes.
You withheld this for almost a half hour?
I withheld this for almost a half hour because...
It's been like almost 24 hours.
No, but he's saying for the show.
Still.
But he's saying for the show. But I'm going to tell you right now...
I'm looking at the email you sent us with camp notes,
no,
and I don't even see this in the email.
It's not. I told you I withheld it. This is why you have to stay tuned. You see, this is where I've learned. In the newspaper business, you blow this up. In the podcast biz, if you didn't wait for this, you missed it. You missed it. See? I'm telling you.
You're shaming people that aren't watching this or listening to this right now.
Purple Daily, if you don't stay tuned to the end, you know what this is? I slipped something in the credits, okay? And all the cool kids are seeing it. But the kids that ducked out, they're not seeing it.
I like it. We should do this every time. We should let the credits roll.
Yeah.
And, we can.
This is Ferris Bueller. Hey, come back. We're not done yet.
So we can, so the episode's over. Sorry, guys. Wait, breaking news. The Vikings just traded for Tom Brady. Oh my God.
I'm charting the line combinations, and I notice Wyatt Davis like sneaks in there first team. I'm like, what? I'm like, did I really see that? And then I saw it again. Now it's very, very few snaps, so it's not it's not a lot of work, but but they clearly. So I think he came to camp not in great shape. And I think that there's a lot of corrections to be done here, but they clearly have seen, so they don't, as much as they have slammed in the past, PFF, they use those grades as well.
Yeah.
And PFF's not wildly wrong. So when Wyatt Davis grades out as well as he has in the 2 preseason games,
and then gets first team reps in practice next couple, that's
exactly
interesting.
And you're not going to say as a team, oh, the PFF stuff's all wrong. Wyatt Davis sucks. He's our 3rd round pick. You're going to say, this kid's playing pretty well. This is intriguing, very intriguing. So anyway, I saw
feel like
him
we should
getting.
Is there another practice? Are you going to be observing today? Or
Yeah,
is
I'm
it?
going back today.
I think if this continues to
back
be a
today
trend,
'cause
we need
can't
to
stay away.
blow this up.
Yeah.
Because
as the
this
executive
is
producer of this
huge
program,
news.
I'm a little upset. A little upset. We could have led with this.
No, it was very few snaps. It's not enough to. No. It's not enough. If he had been
Well,
the
at least- or at
first
least
team,
communication.
if he had been
Wyatt
the fir-
Davis, new starting right guard for Vikings.
You see,
Clickbait,
this is where,
clickbait.
this is where I will draw a line because I'm out there watching, and it was very few snaps, but they did it, and that's worth. But again, you know what? A lot of people by now might have jumped out of Purple Daily. 22 minutes, and you missed out.
Vikings cut Oli Udoh. So impressed with Wyatt Davis.
You know what? That's fine. I'm just telling you right now. I saw it with my own two eyes. I charted it a couple times. It was very intriguing, but it's not a move. I think what it is it's inching closer to, we got to give the kids some chances.
All right. I like it. Those are Judd's camp notes here on Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company. And I've got some Vikings trivia for you guys here, as I do every single Tuesday. And trivia is presented in part by this amazing new pair of Vikings scratch games, I guess, through the Minnesota Lottery. So there's a $5 game that can win you up to $100,000. Pay that man his money. Comes in a cool holographic design. So even if you lose, you got a cool holographic scratch-off ticket. It's pretty cool. And there's a $2 Skull game that can win you up to $15,000 plus great second chance prizes like Vikings tickets and merchandise. Get pumped and say, I'm in to Viking scratch games from the Minnesota Lottery. It must be 18 or older to play. Also, our friends at Federated helping to power Purple Daily throughout the 2021 season and helping to power business owners. If you're out there and the world is just so chaotic the last couple of years and you just want a great guiding hand, 100+ years of knowledge and expertise and resources to help shield you from potential risks. It's like your offensive line. If you're a business owner, you don't want it to be rickety. You want a guy like Wyatt Davis, first team right guard Wyatt Davis, standing in front of you.
This is what happens.
That's what Federated is. Federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. All right, boys.
Let's roll.
Here's your trivia question on this Tuesday. You're working in tandem. You guys get 3 incorrect guesses or I win.
Okay.
And this is just a one-answer trivia question. What is the greatest Vikings team comeback of the last 25 years?
And just as a disclaimer, are you looking for the points and the team?
I'm looking for the team that they played.
Okay.
And I'm looking for, I'm not going to hold you to the year, but if you can give me a general time frame within 1 year on each side, if your memory's a little foggy. And then I'm looking for the deficit that they overcame within, I'm going to say within 1 point on each side. I'm going to make it tough because I'm giving you 3 wrong answers.
Okay.
And by the way, if you guess one of the elements wrong at all, it's a wrong answer. So confirm among yourself. So I'm looking for the greatest Vikings comeback of the last 25 years.
Okay.
I'm looking for the opponent. I'm looking for the deficit.
Jeez.
Oh,
and
boy.
the year is optional. The year is optional.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Okay. Trying to think here, man. I'm trying to think of big 20+ point comebacks.
Yeah.
Even in the last in the Zimmer era. Well, how about this? Mm-hmm. The Broncos game, the Diggs game. What was that? Was 21? Was that 21 rip?
It was 20 or 21 rip. Yes.
Okay, so that's on the table. I wouldn't say it's for sure but that's on the table.
Yeah.
So 21 rip, Broncos, Stephon Diggs game, and that's the Stephon Diggs game. It's not the Kirk Cousins game.
Yeah.
You guys Googling? Who's Googling? I hear typing.
Nothing. I'm writing down on my
Declan's typing
spreadsheet.
Something.
Spreadsheet.
Declan's typing
I
something.
put
Oh my God, that's
21
all the scores of
Stephon
Vikings
Diggs.
games. Oh my God,
Yeah.
no.
Oh my God, that was Declan's social security number on that spreadsheet.
It's my incredibly organized way I complete our tasks every day.
So hold on a second here. Okay, yeah, the Broncos one is good. So we're going back 25 years. So that would be approximately 96-ish.
We'll say the 96 season all the way forward.
When was the... Okay, so thinking out loud here, Declan, so I'm not talking to Phil. The comeback, the miracle at the Meadowlands comeback in the playoffs against the Giants for Denny Green.
Okay.
But I don't know that they were. I don't remember what they were down by in that one. They were down, but I don't know that it was ever super substantial. Mm-hmm. They were just down. But that was a big comeback. This is a tough one.
Yeah, this is tough, dude. I mean, we get 3 wrong guesses, right?
Do you want to throw the Broncos out there, Dex?
Let's just throw it out there to clear it out. So yeah, the Broncos game.
So you're guessing one element here is Broncos game.
The Broncos game, 21-point deficit.
I'll just give it to you. It's correct. It's a correct
Oh.
answer.
Oh,
Beautiful.
There it is.
Oh!
It is the greatest comeback
Nice.
of the last 25 years in
It was one of the great.
Vikings history.
That's true because I remember the graphic. CBS, I think, had that game, and they did have a graphic that it was one of the great comebacks in the NFL, I think, at the time for halftime.
And that's because of Mr. Game-winning drive, Mr. Fourth quarter Pharaoh himself.
Stephon Diggs.
The dagger doctor, the secondary slayer. In that game, the Vikings were down 20-0. That was November 17th, 2019, and they won the game 27-23. Some other great comebacks on this list, if you go back in the full history of Vikings football, can you guess the greatest comeback ever? Is before the 25-year window.
I couldn't tell you.
Only Judd would be able to.
Was it the 1977 Tommy Kramer San Francisco game at Met Stadium?
Yeah. Wow, dude.
Wow, Judd.
Dude.
Holy crap.
I told you guys if I go 7, if I go back to then, I can get. I can't tell you what the 2010 Wild did, but I can tell you about Vikings history. Yeah, he came in.
December 4th,
at halftime.
1977.
Yep.
And the
the
Niners were not that good that year. That was kind of before like Joe
Bill
Montana.
Walsh. They were awful before Bill Walsh and Montana.
So the Vikings were down at one point. They were down 24-0 in this game, about midway through the third quarter.
Yep.
And they came all the way back, and they won that game 28-27. Jim Plunkett was the aging veteran quarterback.
Do you
for the
have who
Niners.
started at quarterback for the Vikings that day?
Bob Lee.
Bob Lee, right? Because Kramer. So if I'm not mistaken, that all coincided with Tarkenton got hurt for the first time in his career. He broke his leg at the Met against Cincinnati, and Bob Lee took over. And Kramer was a first round pick, I believe, from Rice at the time, and that's the one where they just plugged Tommy in, and it was a fantastic comeback.
Old Tommy went 9 of 13 for $188 and 3 touchdowns.
I just
in the second
redeemed
half of
myself
that
for
game.
my
That was
very
amazing.
poor Wild performance on
Great
Mackey and
performance.
Judd. Random season
Bailing
recall.
you out again.
I
keep kind of bailing you out a little bit.
Amazing
What's that?
performance.
Nothing.
Oh, it's Denver. Yeah. No, that was good.
I mean, I think you
Well,
guys
we worked together as a
Tuesday as
well,
a
wait,
whole.
wait, hold on a second. We worked together as a team. You did a great job. You didn't bail me out. We're both in on this.
I love how Declan's the teammate. Where like his teammate's like, "Nice job, Dex." He's like, "Shut up, I know."
Yeah.
I bailed you out.
There ain't
It's
no
like Phil very specifically says, "Okay, you guys are going to work together as a team in tandem."
Man,
and
I got this.
Dex is like, "Well, your name's on the show, so I bailed you out."
Yep. There ain't no I in team, and there ain't no we either. So yes, that is correct.
All right.
Wow.
When are you guys going to
Well, I'm
admit
proud
that
of you.
you were wrong tomorrow and every
Tomorrow.
Wednesday with our Write That Down and accountability sessions? So thanks for hanging out with us. Daily Vikings Entertainment presented by Surly Brewing Company. We'll see you for Write That Down tomorrow.